So since Netflix and South Korea joined forces and stole our green, white, green, the Nigerian government has also joined forces with Nollywood to steal their red, blue, black, white. That's too many colors. So to keep things simple, we'll just steal the black and white. I swear, the Nigerian South Korea mutual stealing will never end. So after stealing the colors, the Nigerian government came up with their own program, and for some reason they are calling it Squid Game. What? Anyways, we thought it was the Nigerian government that came up with the program, because at first they were calling it empowerment program. Until rumor came from Facebook that the program is actually sponsored by 5 Nigerian billionaires. But don't worry, I will not mention names, although one person posted on Facebook that Davido's father is one of them. So actually, nobody knows what kind of empowerment program is going to be yet. But Davido's father, His Excellency Mr. Adeleke, I swear that man is trying for Nigeria. Only God will bless him. Because I tell you what, they said the program is open for both men and women between ages 25 to 80. And as a 40-year-old man myself, who is 250,000 naira in debt for Gary I bought on credit, I had to apply ASAP. I mean, any little thing they give us in this empowerment program is something. So 2 months later, some men in black suits came to our village town hall and ordered all the applicants to gather. And then, most unexpectedly, they made us play cashew game. The men in black suits will hold a cashew nut in one of their hands and ask you to pick which hand the cashew nut is in. And if you pick correctly, they'll recruit you into the program. At first, everybody thought it was funny and silly and was going to be easy, until we realized how stiff and strict these men in black were. I mean, they are not smiling. They made it very difficult. Sometimes they will not hold any cashew nuts in either of their hands, and they will show you both fists and ask you to choose. So it's either you choose right or left, or you say none. So if you choose right or left when both fists are actually empty, well, you're out and free to go back to your house. So when it got to my turn, they called out my name. Who is Mr. Young Chief? Then I came out. Also, just in case you're wondering, Mr. Young Chief is actually a nickname my friends gave me and everybody in my village calls me. So when I came out, the man in black stretched out both of his fists and asked me to choose the one with the cashew nut. So I was trying to play smart. I was like, none. Then the guy gave me one look. And in my head, I thought I was correct. So I started making mouth. I was like, you people, you think I don't know your tricks? I'm the same age as your father. I'm a 40-year-old graduate. See, before I started smoking and drinking, I did my NYSC in Kaduna, one of the most dangerous countries in Nigeria. And then you want to trick me with cashew? Never. So the guy in black just stood there and allowed me to finish making mouth. And when I was done, he finally opened his hands, only for me to discover that there was a cashew nut in both of his hands. So in other words, I received a bonus round, screwed it up, and started making mouth for nothing. Then the guy was like, step aside, you're out. But in my head, I was like, God forbid I miss this empowerment. What if His Excellency Adeleke is going to share money there? Then I will miss the opportunity to collect my share so that Gary Seller will jam me as she promised? Never. Not happening. So I said, let me use sense. So I was like, Oga, what do you mean step aside? I said one. Then it was like, Oga, come up for a year. You said none and you failed. Next. Then I was like, who? Me? Say none. When? I said one, which means one of your hand is holding a cashew nut each. But you did not understand me, you did not hear me well. So he was like, okay, leave here, you failed. Then one other guy on black interfered from the other part of the hall. And he was like, what's going on? Then his colleague explained to him what I did. And he was like, it's alright, let him enter. Mr. Young Chief, that's your name, right? Yes, sir. Okay, you are free to enter the bus. Then on hearing that, I started shining teeth. Then I majestically walked outside and entered the bus, majestically sat down with my fellow winners. So out of all the applicants that played the cashew recruitment game in my village, only 16 of us passed. You can imagine. So they drove the 16 of us to the venue of the main event, and it was a really long drive. And also, I was tired from the cashew game. I swear, playing cashew is not easy. So I casually slept off in the bus. And by the time I woke up, our bus was already parked somewhere that looked like the middle of a desert. And also I noticed I was no longer on my up and down attire, but on a really fancy black and white uniform. Black and white secondary school uniform, to be precise. Then I vexed. I was like, who naked me and changed my clothes when I was sleeping? Eh? But then everybody else in the bus continued talking to each other and pretended like they did not hear me. Also, they themselves have changed to the same uniform, but at least they were awake when they changed. And to worsen the matter, I noticed they also changed my underwear too. From the blue boxer I was wearing to a pure white Korean made pantsuit. So when they finally asked us to come out of the bus, we realized that we were just a tip of the iceberg. There were over 20 other buses like ours, also packed with people on the same black and white uniforms coming out of them. And these groups of people seemed to have likely come from different parts of Nigeria, because I was seeing different calibers of groups. For example, Southern men like us are known to be very handsome, no doubt. Northern men are known to be very tall or dark, or tall and dark. And then Yoruba people who are just in between. No clear direction. So the men in black gathered everybody and started giving us numbers. And that was when it was finally confirmed that there were 456 of us in total. Because the guy in black that I argued with back in my village was actually the one giving the numbers. So he took note of my face and labeled me last. And I was like, whatever, nigga. So after that, the coordinator of the program came out to address us. And for some reason, he was wearing black agbada and covered his face with ivory mask. And then everybody was surprised and started asking him, sir, well done. is that a real Ivory mask? And then he was like, nah, look at that, I've stolen all our real Ivory masks. This, my friend helped me cap this one yesterday. Then all of us were like, okay. It's fine though. Then the coordinator was like, thank you. So we were expecting him to request chairs for us to sit and then start lecturing us on how to make money, and at the end of the day share money to us. But then the next thing I had, he collected a microphone and was like, form a big circle like your mother's cooking pot. And everybody was confused. Why is he telling a group of 50-year-old, 70-year-old men to form a big circle like their mothers cooking pot? I mean, some of these men, their mothers have died of old age 30 years ago, and only a few of us remember what our mothers cooking pot looked like. So we started to wonder, what kind of child's play is this? First, it was the cashew recruitment game, then secondary school uniforms, now this. So while we were feeling too big and too old to obey the instruction, a team of those strict-looking men in black walked in with firewood in their hands, strong firewood, and threatened to kill anybody that doesn't comply to the front man. And that, my friends, was when things got tense. We quickly realized this is not what we thought it was and started to form the circle. So the man on Ivory mask walked into the middle of the circle and was like, how many of you have watched Squid Game? And to my greatest surprise, everybody raised up their hand. So it means to tell me that 50-year-old, 80-year-old Nigerian men and women are also watching Squid Game too? I thought I was the only one. Then the coordinator continued. He was like, good, our own is Sweet Game, and I'm the front man, and there's nothing nobody can do about it. And then one young boy threw in from his corner. He was like, but where are the guns? Why firewood? And then the front man replied, you know how much they are selling a sachet of bullets now? Then the boy replied, 2.5. And the front man was like, you see, 2,500 naira for 6 bullets. Now calculate. Do you know how many bullets they use in the original Squid Game? We'll use firewood, don't worry. So the front man continued. Every one of you here came from different backgrounds. Some of you here are already rich but want to get richer. Most of you here are poor and wretched and are looking for any means possible to pay off your debts. That's why I won't mention names, but I have your track records. For example, there's one guy here that didn't pay house rent for 21 years and ran away, and the landlord and police are still looking for him. Also, there's one other guy here that has eaten Gary on credit, Gary worth of 250,000 naira. You see, the way your faces have different levels of blackness, so does your financial crimes. We have organized a program called Sweet Game, so that winners of all 6 sweet games will go home with a cash prize of 45.6 billion naira. So in addition to what the frontman said, this means I won't just be able to pay off my debt, but also live the rest of my life as a billionaire. I mean, self-made billionaire straight from the trenches. Also, I think everybody else had similar thoughts, because I could see they were smiling and motoring, and some elderly people even started clapping for the frontman after his speech. And I'm like, they're clapping? Seriously? Are these people even really watch Squid Game? Then one old guy standing next to me had me talking to myself, and he was like, please my son, what is Squid Game? After watching it, he was one of the first persons to raise their hands when they asked who have watched Squid Game. Nah, this was when it occurred to me that I need to find people like me who know what's going on or what's about to go on. So guys, remember how I told you we had rumor from Facebook that Davido's father is one of the billionaires sponsoring the program? Well, that rumor now seems to not be true, because guys, you won't believe my eyes. His Excellency Adeleke was standing right in front of my eyes on the same Korean school uniform as us. And then people started to gather in. Then I'm like, what is His Excellency Adeleke doing in the empowerment program with us? So I said, let me rush quick and join. Maybe he's sharing money. But when I got there, people were just asking him questions and he was responding. Questions like, Your Excellency, how are you able to make it in life? Your Excellency, I have a son named Daniel and I want him to become Daniel Doe. How do I do it? Your Excellency, do you know anything about the sweet games you're about to play? Then, as soon as he started responding, everyone was quiet, and we all were listening attentively. So His Excellency Adeleke was like, is it because I'm not a billionaire? My son, Davido, he's lucky now. You know the kind of village I grew up in? Ikorodu, we play cashew. What they used to call it? Boju, we play mommy and daddy. Every day, mommy and daddy. All of you here know what I'm talking about. There's no sweet game here they will give us that I cannot play. So after his advice, the men in black came and dismissed our gathering and set us up for the first game, which we all know, the red light, green light. Only issue is that our statue was President Tinubu on Korean skirts. Very disturbing looking statue. How can you put our beloved president on skirts? Who does that? Anyways, the red light, green light game started, and the 456 of us all lined up and started running towards the statue. As soon as the statue turned its face to us, 3 old men had a heart attack at once and died. Because I tell you what, guys, not only did they put our president on skirts, they also gave him makeup and lashes. So just tell me how an 80-year-old man will see this kind of statue twist its head and not have a heart attack. So besides those 3 old men that died on their own as a result of myocardial infarction epilepsy they got after the statue suddenly rotated its head, it seems every other person passed this level. You know, since they were able to translate this to this.
When I look back, where then go by you if you move.
Also, a lot of people have watched the original show, and some people were helping others who haven't. Although personally, I don't help anybody, because I think we all know how that usually turns out. I ain't gonna let nobody backstab me. That 45.6 billion naira is mine and mine alone. So I have to keep working smart. So after red light, green light was over, we still had all LD 453 players on board, and they started preparing the set for the next game. You think you know what the next game is, but you don't. Even me, I thought I knew what the next game was going to be, but I didn't. And we all were getting ready to lick biscuits until a few minutes later, the men in black came out with buckets of stones that we are going to do war stars. And everybody was like, whoa, when are we going to lick biscuits? And frontman was like, you want to lick biscuits? And everybody said, yes. Okay, don't worry, biscuit is coming. I hope cabin biscuit is okay. Yes, cabin biscuit is okay. So for game number 2, the war start, they took us to a big uncompleted 5-story building around the area and gave us stones instead of sticks to simulate guns. In the original war starts game we played as kids, we would use sticks as guns and use our mouths to imitate gun sounds. Chicky, boom. And the person that was shot first would do and die fake die. But here in Squid games, they said they wanted the impact to be real. So they gave us stones instead to bust each other's brain and kill each other for real. So before the game started, the front man took a plastic chair and sat down in front of the building. And it was like, once I say go, all of you run into the building and hide yourselves. But before that, Olu, please connect the speakers and play the Squid Game song. The Pimple Song, play it. Sir, they have take lights. They have take lights? Yes, sir. Oh yeah, no problem. Check under the table, bring my MP. Sir, they not charge the MP, sir. Oh, if you would not charge the MP as well. It's okay. Oh yeah, call Yakubu, both of you should come and use your mouths to do the song. So while men in black, Olu and Yakubu were singing, the frontman commenced the game by screaming, "War starts!" And then we all ran into the building and started hiding and stoning each other. With granite, both men and women, old and young, it was crazy. Stones were flying in and out of the building. The frontman had to leave his chair ASAP and run into his car. I mean, one guy purposely targeted him from the building and almost killed him. So he had to end the game abruptly. And at the end, only 236 of us survived the war start game. In other words, 217 brains have successfully been busted. So after this particular game, some players got scared and attempted to run away. But they brought them back and warned us that any player who refuses to participate, they will use firewood and knock the player to death. So we all calmed down and continued to comply. So before we proceeded to the next game, they gathered all of us again to form a big circle like our mother's cooking pot. And that was when I discovered that His Excellency Adeleke was still very much alive and active in the games. He looked so happy and seemed to be enjoying the game. I mean, from the look of things, he was the only one who didn't get a single scratch from the game we just finished. He must be a really good stoner. Anyways, moving on to the next game. So while we were on the mother's cooking pot circle, the front man came out and announced that the next game we are going to play was the African Bend Down. So it was like, how many of you remember African Bend Down? And everybody raised up their hand again. And also again, that same old guy from last time that asked me what is Squid Game still somehow found me again and came to ask me again, my son, please what is African Bend Down? Like, are you serious right now, bro? I mean, how on earth is this guy still alive? You know, I purposely ignored him last time because I felt that he wasn't going to make it past the first game. You know, since he looked old and 75-ish. But for some reason, he didn't just survive the first game, but it also seems like he's an expert on war start. Because I tell you what, just like His Excellency Adeleke, this old guy came out clean and spotless from the war start game. Anyways, while I wasn't still helping people, I didn't feel like ignoring him this time around. So I said, let me teach him small. African Bend Down means African bend down. Then it was like, okay, thank you, my son, and walked away. So when we started the third game, the African Bend Down, all the players were still arranged in the circle and we would sing the Yo 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 Africa Bend Down song. Then two players from both your sides would clap over your head and at once, and you are expected to bend down so they don't touch you. And this progression continues in a really quick manner, player after player, all through the circle and over again until someone misses. And you either miss by not clapping on time or by not bending down on time. And to be honest, this particular game was really sweet because at first nobody seemed to be missing until the waist of this guy hook and he missed. And he clapped on one of his eyes and blinded it. Bro was bending up and down fast and forgot that he was already 60. So this 60-year-old guy started screaming at the wrong person. It's a lie, it's a lie. Romanticism owed me and I was not able to bend that fast. So he clapped on one of my eyes and blinded it. I will not agree. Then the next thing we know, fight burst. Both the accusee and the accuser, the guy that clapped on someone's eye and the guy that was clapped upon, both of them started fighting. And we tried to separate them, but to no avail. It was a mortal combat. The guy that was injured was like, I'll blind him back, I will not agree.
Hey, take it easy now.
That blind one eye and leave him alone. So the guy, in an attempt to blind back his opponent, he choked his hand into his opponent's skull and plucked out one entire ball of eyes. And unfortunately for this opponent, part of his brain followed the eyes and he died. I'm surprised I was the only one that noticed he killed the wrong person. Anyways, as soon as he died, we quietly went back to our positions on the circle like our mother's cookie pot, as if nothing happened. And the guy that just murdered his opponent was just standing there in the middle of the circle, carrying the ball of ice in his hands, totally lost and confused. Then a few seconds later, men in black came in and disposed the body. And then, as for the half-blinded guy that just murdered his opponent, well, yes, he got his revenge. I mean, it's literally in his hand. But then, remember, he still missed in the game, so nothing has changed. So the man in black took him and the eyeballs he was carrying to the backyard, used firewood, and knocked him to death. But I speak. So, for the sake of the guy that his eyes and brain was plucked out, the front man had to cancel this game and move on to the next game. He said he had to do this so that the guy's soul will rest in peace. Okay, so moving on to the fourth game, bread and butter. Actually, it's not actual bread and butter, it's just the name of the game, you get. So the front man ordered his men in black to arrange us on a single file as we are about to be divided into 2 equal teams, which will make 117 each. So each team will have a team leader. One team will have a male leader called bread and the other team will have a female leader called butter. So one man that was about my age and one 25-year-old fine girl volunteered to be the team leader. So the rest of us lined up on a single file while both leaders were standing in front of us. So one after the other, we would walk to the middle of the leaders and the both of them would ask us quietly, bread and butter, which one do you like? And any side you choose, you will go to the person's behind and grab the person's waist tightly. So I stood at the front of the queue to enable me choose first. And when I was called forward to pick a side,
Bread and butter, which one do you like?
Without hesitation, I said butter. It's not as if I want to hold anybody's waist though. I just naturally prefer butter to bread. If you like, ask my parents, they'll tell you. So the girl said okay, that I'm on her side, that I should go to her behind and hold her waist. So I went as she instructed and held her waist. I know some of you will be saying, Mr. Young Chief, you are a bad man. No. See, let me tell you something. I know I'm holding your waist, but I'm not a bad man. Okay, now look at that other team leader, a 40-year-old man that looks exactly like me. Skinny to the bone, no single abs, definitely smokes and drinks too. He doesn't look strong, just look at him. How will he be able to withstand the next game we're about to play? Because I tell you what, people, I know exactly the game we're about to play. So it's better to risk my integrity and hold this fine waist than to hold that guy's waist and risk my life. Okay, now look, even His Excellency Adeleke entered our side. You think I don't know what I'm doing? He called me Mr. Young Chief for a reason. So after the teams were equally shared, we were ready. And ladies and gents, allow me to present to you bread and butter, the African tug of war. Or should I say the Nigerian tug of war? You know, I'm half Nigerian, half African, so I don't want to betray any side. Okay, so as an African that decided to betray Nigeria small, I present to you African tug of war. And so it begins. Bread one,
butter
two,
bread and butter, three.
So not long after we started pulling each other, all of a sudden we heard bram and somebody screamed. We were thinking that they have blinded another person again until we realized what had actually happened. This one was another style. The team leader of the other team that looked like me, one of his hands suddenly broke during the pulling, and our team leader mistakenly pulled it into our side of the court. And after that, the frontman blew the whistle that our team has won. He said the idea of the game is to at least pull one member of the opposing team across the line, and since we have successfully pulled part of their body into our side, we have won. So the man in black took all 117 of the other team to the backyard, used firewood, and knocked them to death. So the 117 of us got moved on to the next game. And for this fifth game, we were divided into 2 groups. The remaining 97 men and 20 women. So according to the front man, men and women were not going to play the same game for this semi-final level. So they took all the women to another location and said the game they are going to play there is 10-10. And that was the last time we saw them. That was the last time I saw the waist. Oh God. Anyways, let's focus on the men. So for us men, they brought out checkered boards for us that we are going to play drought, aka checkers. And bro, come and see where men are rejoicing. We were so happy. In fact, this was when I finally confirmed that yes, indeed, Nigerian men were born to play drought, especially the ones with pot belly. Sorry, I mean above average size belly. So we were paired in twos and the drought game commenced. Now, according to the Squid game history and analytics so far, we have never spent more than 1 hour in any of the previous Squid games. But I tell you what, my friends, men were playing drought for 2 days straight, under hot sun, and our foreheads were shining, no lunch breaks, no baiting, no talking. Only thing here is poi poi poi, bam, checkers. And men in black were standing and intimidating with their sticks. Also, frontman on the other hand is still in the other location where the women are playing 10-10 low. And also, before I forget, Olu and Yakubu have been singing for the past 3 days, and it's telling on them. Hey, hey, oh, hey. But luckily for everyone, frontman returned from the women's location with cooler of jollof rice, rationed in small nylons and waterproofs, and started sharing to everybody, even pure water. He shared to all the men in black and shared to all the players as well, and for once everybody was happy. But as soon as we finished eating, His Excellency Adeleke won his game and stood up. A few minutes later, I won my game and also stood up, and that was how everybody started winning their games all over the place. So you mean to tell me it was all hunger all this while? Anyways, despite all the sudden check-ins and winnings, the frontman finally announced that only the first 2 winners of the drought game are allowed to proceed to the final game. So in other words, the men in black took the rest of the crowd to the backyard and used firewood and knocked them to death. And so, people of Earth, the most unexpected part of the Squid Games, what I never imagined in my life, I'm about to face off the one and only Adeleke of Federal Republic of Africa on a 1-against-1 tournament. I don't know what the final game is going to be yet, but what do you think? Mr. Young Chief, father of Nkechi, or His Excellency Adeleke, father of Davido? Place your bets, only one way to find out. So at first, I wanted to start bowing down to greet His Excellency as an honor to meet him, but all of a sudden, pride entered my head. I was like, why bow down to him when I'm about to face him off on a 1-against-1 tournament? I mean, I could literally win this money and become a billionaire as well. So instead of greeting him respectfully, I was like, yo, Dele, my guy. Then he quietly walked up to me and put his hand on my shoulder and said to me, Mr. Young Chief, I've been watching you ever since the start of these Squid Games, and I've come to finally realize that you're a very good player. Then I'm like, okay, thank you. Then he continued, I have come to realize that you're a very good and selfish and disrespectful player, and I will teach you a lesson you will never forget in your life. Then he started walking away. But after he said that to me, I vexed, my ego rise. I was like, see sir, it's not by making out to, I will win you in this game, and after taking the 45.6 billion naira, I know you're already a billionaire, but I will not partner with you, I will not invest in your administrative jurisdiction. In fact, after paying my Gary debt, I will go to China and build a warehouse and lock part of my money inside. Then I will go to Russia and lock another part of my money. But if Russia and Ukraine use missiles to chase me back, then I will go to France and lock it. Then I will use the remaining money to travel to Ghana and marry a second wife. Then I will carry my wives and children and migrate to South Korea, where I will marry a third wife and settle down as a young bachelor. So His Excellency Adeleke just allowed me to finish talking and he didn't say anything. So the front man sat both of us down on a long bench facing each other, and then he carefully placed a pack of words in between us. You see, even before we both started playing the game, I already knew I was going to win. His Excellency Adeleke didn't stand a chance. Now see the game. His Excellency Adeleke shuffles the cards, give us both 3 cards each, and then he places the board card and keeps the rest for market. And I'm like, oh, only 3 cards each? Guess it would take long for me to push you out. Anyways, so right before the card gameplay, the front man ordered his men in black to bring the 5 Ghana must go bags in the boot of his car, and so they dropped the bags in front of us and unzipped the bag, and behold, Naira bills. The 45.6 billion naira was no joke. And now, without no further ado, let's play the national card game. So these are my cards. We are not allowed to see each other's cards. First person to play out all his cards wins. So according to what I have here, it's a straightforward win for me. So I gave him pick 14 and picked the 14 and added it to his cards. Baba have carry overload. Then I played Give Me Crosses, last card, and then I gave him a really annoying smile. I wasn't expecting him to smile back, but he did. He smiled back at me, and the next time I saw, he played pick 2, pick 3, pick 3, pick 3, pick 3, pick 3. Suspension, 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 suspension. Hold on. Suspension last card. Check off. And right before my eyes, fair and square, Mr. Adeleke finished his cards in a loop and won the game. And then the front man and the men in black started clapping and cheering for him. Me on the other hand, in my head, I'm like, so you mean to tell me these people are about to use firewood to knock me to death? Hell nah. Of course not. They call me Mr. Young Chief for a reason. So I started to calculate the rate of speed I will use to run from here to Anambra, a place like home. So as I was about to move, they dragged me back. And the first man was like, Your Excellency Adeleke, as one of the billionaire VIPs funding the Squid Games but decided to participate, your decision as regards to Mr. Young Chief here is final. Should you use firewood to knock him to death, or should we lock him up for season 2?
Oh well, that's simple. We'll let the people decide.
Overlapping laughter is about detergent. Yeah. Thank you.
Here and a there, here, there.